What's going on, guys? Sparrow here today, and today we're going to be reacting to Chapter 3 of Vampiolence by Scribbler. Last time we found out one thing about Final, and that is that she has a sister, which I'm guessing that's her right there in the thumbnail. I can't remember her name at the moment. Velm or something like that. Can't remember at the moment, but I do remember Vinyl's name, Vanilda, and I think Foron is the other two characters. See, I'm doing better. But she was the sister was very mildly mentioned in the last one, so yeah, yeah. But I'm sure we're going to learn a lot about her in this part, so I really don't have anything else to say except that I'm so excited. I'm really liking this story. I mean, Voron's a jerk, of course, but because I can tell he doesn't care for Final as much as he does what's her face, the sister, who he cares more about because she's more vampiric than Final or Vanilda is. So anyways, let's just get into it. I don't know what to expect anyway. I'm expecting we're going to have more backstory on Final's sister, or Vanilda. So without further ado, let's do this. 3, 2, 1, start.
Hey you! Yes, you, watching this video. Do you want to own a piece of Scribbler? Only not a lock of hair or blood or flesh or anything else that will get you in trouble with the law? Well, now you can.
If I could afford it, I would.
Hoodies, tote bags, and mugs featuring Obab Scribbler at her Teespring store. You know you
I can always up the volume if it's too low.
Now stop talking in third person and send you on to the video. Be lovely to each other and enjoy the show.
Alrighty, will do. We've seen 2 of those right there. 2 art pieces of that right there. Also, great job to the artist, whoever did the art for this one. Yeah. Oh, I recognize that music track. Lost Nader's Hell of Horse. Well, okay, we're already starting to have creepy as shit.
Vinyl returned to consciousness slowly and painfully, like she was dragging herself up a long black pipe, using only her teeth and a rope.
Down came the rain and washed the spider out.
That's Magpie, isn't it?
Freaking hurt.
Sounds just like her Pinkie Pie.
She felt like she'd been run over by a cart.
Out came the sun and dried up all the rain.
Several times.
So the incy-wincy spider climbed up the spout again.
I think that's Mag.
She knew that voice.
The itty-bitty pony developed such a cough.
Recognition slipped between the cracks of her returning consciousness and slid into place with a cruel click.
So the itty-bitty pony pulled its legs right off.
When Vinyl opened her eyes, she knew exactly who she was going to see.
Her sister.
Hey, you're awake.
Even though she was prepared, her
That's gotta
stomach
be
still
Mag. It sounds
clenched
just like her.
at the smiling face and
If it's
bright,
not, I'm really
happy
surprised.
eyes.
I thought maybe I hit you too hard. It's been so long. You went down so easy,
That's
big
Mag.
sis. You never went down that easy before. I thought maybe I broke you. I didn't want to break you. I've hit you harder than that before and you never broke.
The cupid bow lips pouted in a way that had made many colts and stallions swoon. Right before she parted them to reveal fangs that ripped out swooning throats.
You really did do it, huh?
Vinyl swallowed. The sides of her throat stuck together. When she spoke, her voice sounded sticky and rough, like she was speaking through molasses and ground glass.
Hello, Vellum.
The beautiful mare clapped her forehooves like some pony half her apparent age.
Hi.
That's Mag. That's definitely Mag.
Hi.
It's like a mixture between the Trixie and the Pinkie that she does.
Do you know your name?
Because it's got the smugness, but yeah, it's also got the cheerfulness to
She
it.
thrust one forehoof against Vinyl's nose, knocking her off balance. Vinyl swayed, realizing belatedly that she was sitting upright, with her back against something hard. She tried to get up, but her midriff pressed against something. Likewise, her forelegs when she tried to raise them.
What the... Daddy said you might try to hit me when you woke up. I thought he was wrong, but you know Daddy.
Vellum shrugged.
What Daddy wants.
Daddy gets.
Vinyl thought. She refused to complete the old mantra. Vellum, apparently waiting
Also,
for the
why
second
does it seem
time,
like to me that
counted, but it didn't come.
Vinyl has
It was an adorable
breasts right
expression.
here?
She looked like
I
a
don't know,
china
but
doll
maybe
with her snow-white
that's
fur
intended, I don't know.
and frothy
She was
ringlets.
female.
She stamped a hoof and tossed her mane. The gesture was so achingly familiar that Vinyl's heart flattened as much as her ears.
Vellum, leave her alone.
Oh gosh.
Vellum immediately backed off. Vinyl tried not
Stop
to wish
playing
herself
with my
unconscious
food.
again at the slowly advancing hooves. Her brain threw images at her in a kaleidoscope of memory and raw emotion. A toothy smile, the sound of bones against kitchen tile, a spray of blood she had sworn would never be spilled. Wide purple eyes. Vinyl stamped on her terror and held it, wriggling under her hoof long enough to ask.
Where is Octavia?
Voron was a mess. He had cleaned himself up, but his fur was still streaked with blood and dirt from the kitchen floor.
In a grave.
He wasn't limping. He should have been limping. She had smashed his legs into paste. He shouldn't even
No.
be able to walk right now. Why wasn't he even limping?
He gained his
He
strength
caught
back.
her looking and smiled. There was one surefire way he could have regained his strength and healed so quickly. Bile touched the back of Vinyl's throat.
Wow.
Where is Octavia?
She tried not to let her pitch rise, but it crept up anyhow.
You mean you can't smell her?
Voron's smile widened.
You disappoint me, Vanelda.
You fed on her, didn't you?
Vinyl's neck prickled. She finally took stock of where she was. The combined scent of rosin and dust was so familiar that she hadn't registered it at first. The fact that the lights were off hadn't helped to orient her either.
Okay,
Now,
so she still does have her fangs. I couldn't tell if it was in the art piece or not.
They set up as
I mean,
a
your
practice room when they
your
moved into this
canines are
house.
what look like fangs,
She and
anyways.
Vinyl had spent long hours painstakingly mapping the walls with foam to soundproof it for when either of them wanted time to play as loud as possible without disturbing the neighbors. Right now, that seemed like an extremely stupid decision. There was
Oh
a
man, they
pile
can't hear their
of gray
screams or anything like
fur
that.
in the middle of the floor.
So,
Abby!
Vinyl's muscles exploded into movement. She struggled against the belt some pony had sensed tied around her waist and all four legs to tie her to this chair.
again,
She
these
struggled so
sound
hard, in
effects
fact, that the
in
chair
anime,
tipped
I bet
sideways
recording them
and
sound
she
totally
and it crashed
opposite
to the
what they sound
floor.
like right now.
They had never gotten
And she
around
falls
to
over, doesn't
carpeting
she?
this room, so the clatter was deafening. Even when the noise faded, her voice carried on, streaming angry invectives.
You fucking biter!
Vanelda, such language.
Voron,
Whoa!
she flung a curse
Whoa,
at
okay,
him
this
like a
turned
poisoned
into
dart.
pretty vulgar pretty quickly.
Fucking touch her!
You won't.
Never touch her.
Voron placed a forehoof to his chest, seemed only just then to notice it was dirty, and frowned. He looked about, eventually settling for a
She turned him.
cloth Octavia
He turned her,
used
didn't
to
she?
shine the
Didn't
wood
he?
of her
You're
bow
right.
and cello.
Fuck you!
Voron swiped at himself in brisk, even motions, speaking as he cleaned off small patches of bloodstains.
She is not dead. She was useful in helping me repair the damage you caused. But she is less useful dead than alive. At the moment, that is.
The pause
He used her
made Vinyl go still.
as a feeding supply.
Octavia was alive. She fastened onto the thought. Octavia was alive. Her Tavy wasn't dead. A mixture of relief and
Not for
suspicion
long.
washed through her, simultaneously loosening and tightening her muscles.
Voron fed on her.
That fact landed in the center of her mind like a sandbag dropped from a hot air balloon.
So did he
The
turn
resultant
her, or
indentation caused
did
all
you
of
feed
her
on her?
thoughts to slide towards it.
I know there's a
Until she
choice.
could think
You can
of
either
nothing
do
else.
one or the other.
Voron. She had beaten the tar out of him, and he had fed off Octavia to fix the damage she had caused. If she hadn't done that to him, he wouldn't have...
Daddy,
Survived.
I'm sorry. You're right, Daddy. She can't break those bones after all. I guess I owe you a fruit cup.
Vellum crouched beside Vinyl,
Oh,
peering
shut
at her like a particularly curious fossil found on the beach while shell collecting. Voron snorted indulgently.
Not to bet I was eager to win, my lovely. All of my abilities flowing through your veins. All that power. And what did you choose to do with it?
He was clearly addressing Vinyl, though Vellum chose to answer.
She shut it all off. How did she even do that? And why would she want to?
Because she wanted
Why
to live
would
a
you
better
want to
life.
do that, big sis?
She pushed her face into Vinyl,
She doesn't want to live that
practically
kind of
pressing
life.
their eyeballs together.
It is not supposed to be possible.
Voron said easily. He didn't sound angry anymore. In fact, he sounded rather bored. Vinyl wasn't fooled. She was already tensed when he lifted the music stand, tore it in two, and threw the pieces of useless metal across the room.
It is an insult.
Still, he sounded bored.
It is a crime against propriety.
He picked up a sheaf of papers Octavia had scribed over countless hours of composition. It was the work of a second for him to reduce it to fluttering confetti.
Oh, you.
Spitting in your father's eye.
You.
One forehoof met the wall, leaving a round indentation just like the mark he had left in Octavia's
Wow.
chest. Vinyl realized with a jolt that he had been holding back before. It would have been simple for him to punch right through the body
He's
of an
slowly
ordinary
and
mortal pony.
he's slowly
When he
killing
turned
you,
back to
slowly
her,
torturing you.
Vinyl found herself shrinking
Come and
against
think
the
of an
overturned
antagonist.
chair.
I raise
Playing
you
with the
not
food.
to spit, Vanelda. It is unladylike.
She silenced a whimper by biting the inside of her cheek.
Oh, you're in trouble.
Biting her
Vellum
cheek.
giggled. Voron crossed the room, grabbed Vinyl by the throat, and hoisted her into the air, chair and all. She choked. The combined weight
Choking
pulled her
sound
down
effects.
into his
This
iron
track
grip.
is actually a pretty simple
His
one.
hoof was like a vice. The urge to flare her horn and hit him with everything in the room was strong. But though her wooziness had worn off now, the risk was too great, especially with Vellum around too. She couldn't save Octavia if she got herself killed.
Tell me how you hobbled yourself, Vanelda.
Voron said softly.
How she
so
what?
damnably softly. She gurgled.
Tell me how and why you chose to rid yourself of my gifts to you.
Black dots swarmed the edges of her vision.
She got rid of her.
Showing a funny color.
Vellum's voice sounded muffled and
Wait a
further
minute,
away
so-
than before.
She
His
got
grip
rid of the powers or
eased.
something?
It barely helped.
My patience grows thin, Vanelda.
Vinyl opened her mouth to answer, wondering what she could say other than,
Because I didn't want to be a monster like you anymore.
That's exactly what she wanted.
a groan made her freeze.
She wanted a life.
Voron's pupils shrank.
Sweet Celestia.
Vinyl's brain jangled with alarm. She resisted the urge to look at the pile of gray fur.
Don't give him an inch. Stay strong. Look
Yep.
him right in the eye. He can't control you that way anymore. He doesn't have that ability. You looped it. He can't break what you did. You can look right into his eyes and he can't force
She
you
got
to
rid
do
of one
a
of his
damn
powers?
thing
Whoa.
anymore. But if you look away first,
We're gonna get a
if you
flashback,
do
watch.
that,
Looking away first meant conceding
That's what I mean,
he was
Jazz.
stronger. She had spent too much of her life letting him think that. Letting him believe he was the boss of her. right up until she took a stand and said no more with actions, not words. To Voron, spoken language was a frivolity, something he
Straight
could
up to him.
prettify and tie up in a nice bow of civilized phrases and decorum. He understood the language of violence much more, spoke it more fluently too. His mouth curled into a smile.
Okay. Alright, so back to the past we go. And just judging from the artwork,
Daddy's
I'm
smiles
guessing
were scary.
it's
He
probably
had a
going
lot
to
of them, but they were
learn
all scary in some
how she
way.
managed to take that power
Scariest was
away.
how other ponies didn't
And
seem to
that Vellum
realize
is
they were
probably the more
scary at
monstrous
all
of
and
the
smiled
out of
back.
the two.
All big teeth and big eyes and big hearts bursting for something that could rip them out as easily as...
Is it bad that I like her better in
smiling.
this form than it
You two go
actually
out.
is, you know,
He had said,
blue-haired and all
wearing
that
a
stuff?
particularly frightening, predatory grin.
Daddy is having a guest over tonight, and he needs the house to himself.
Come on, Vellum.
Vanelda muttered. She held the little
A
filly by
guest.
one hoof as they trotted along.
Oh, considering another child, are we?
Necessitated such a slow pace that she half considered just picking her up and letting her ride the rest of the way.
Nelda. Nelda.
God, that's creepy.
Stop being cute.
Vanelda snapped. Vellum giggled. The trees were thicker further in. There was more undergrowth, too. Vanelda scented the air, picking up the unmistakable aromas of rabbit, fox urine, and the old musty smell of a badger that had passed this way hours ago. She guided Vellum to a little knoll and sat her down. Vellum giggled and kicked the ground until Vanelda held her legs still.
No, you have to be quiet.
Vellum had beautiful eyes. The irises were a shade of red so pale that they were almost
Evil.
pink, making her look like a little china doll in the
Evil.
moonlight. She could pass as normal with eyes like that. In a fit of pique over the constant whining about being snagged in trees
Now,
and on bushes,
does that mean
Vanelda
hers
had tied
are
Vellum's many curls
like almost
into a tight braid that
reddish
banged her
pink?
shoulders as she walked.
Or
It had been a
is
long
this
time
part of the history?
since Vanelda was able to see herself
Seeing
in
how
the
it normally
mirror,
goes
but
with
she would
vampires
bet
is that
money
when they turn
that she didn't
into a
look
vampire, their
nearly as
eyes change to
adorable.
red.
Her own mane had
Unless
grown
you had to
in
recall, of
lank and
course.
straight and fell about her face like a shroud. Her dark eyes peered out from beneath it, as if she was some moody teenager who wrote bad poetry and
No,
listened to
technically she is a
songs
teenager.
about kicking back at the world. If Vanelda ever kicked at her world, it would kick back a lot,
Stay quiet.
she said firmly.
So that's her
If you stay very
match,
still,
basically.
You'll get something nice.
Vellum gazed at her adoringly.
Oh. Yes, nice. I like nice. I know you.
God.
So stay still.
Like I said, it's
and
kind of a mixture between
quiet,
Pinky and Trixie.
like we practiced, remember? Mousy. Yes, like a mousy.
Vellum proceeded to press one
Oh,
forelock
like a
against
mouse.
her mouth in an incredibly loud bout of shushing. She eventually settled down
She
into
teaching
the
her how to
required
hunt?
silence, but Vanelda would have been surprised if anything remained in the woodland after that noise. Evidently, the rabbits around here were very stupid because one hopped out from the undergrowth less than half an hour later. She felt Vellum stiffen beside her, but didn't move to hold her sister still. Tiny muscles quivered against her flank at the sight of the little white bottom, bopping across the clearing in tiny hops and skips.
Oh,
Wait for it.
Vanelda thought.
Wait for it.
Vellum let out an anticipatory breath. The rabbit raised its nose, ears twitching.
Uh-oh.
It bolted. She exploded into motion. In a second she had cleared the distance and leaped over the fleeing creature. It tried to zigzag, but she cut off its retreat. Dipping her head, she snarled and bared her fangs. It was all show, of course. She had graduated from rabbits decades ago.
it's a way
The
to
snarl
just,
did what she wanted,
yeah.
however.
She's
The
getting food
rabbit
for her
turned to
sister.
escape from her, and ran straight into Vellum's waiting embrace. Vellum raised her face, smiling in absolute delight at her success. The rabbit scrabbled under
That
her
is actually
paw.
the sound that a rabbit does make too.
She declared proudly, as if she had brought down a stag unaided in the middle of a blizzard.
Good. Now finish it. Make it clean like I taught you.
One quick snap of the neck, and the rabbit's troubles would be over. Vanelda had perfected the art of the quick, clean death, and made sure Vellum knew
Suck
it
all
too.
the blood and yeah,
It would die of a heart attack when
dead.
drunk from.
Go on. Quickly now.
Vellum tilted her head at her sister. She looked down at the rabbit, turning it over so as to better grip its head.
Interesting
She
voice
looked back
for
up at
Teenage
Vanelda,
Vinyl.
presumably for approval that she was doing it correctly.
Good. Come on now. Hurry up.
She looked at the struggling rabbit again, swiveling her head this way and that. Before Vanelda could stop her, she bent her head and bit out its belly. Its scream was high and ear-splitting.
Vellum, no!
Vellum
Nice.
tossed her head, scattering blood.
She's
in a
playing with her
wide
food.
arc.
Oh god,
She
that's
shook the
sinister.
slippery red chunk
She's
of
not
fur
she's not
like
showing
a
the thing
dog
of
with a
quick
favorite
mercy,
chew
so
toy.
she's a natural
Something
born
thin
killer.
whipped about her face. Vanelda realized
Why am I
with
getting
alerts
vibes
that
or
it was
something?
part of the rabbit's intestines. Vellum spat out.
Kinda remind me of Elfin Lee a little bit.
Again, scooping out tiny
With the
pulsating organs.
girl, the
and
one that had
gleefully
no
tossing them aside
movement below the
as
waist.
the rabbit screamed
paralyzed,
and screamed.
basically.
And then the screaming stopped.
Jesus
It took
criminy.
Vanelda a moment to realize the rabbit was finally dead. There was still a high-pitched, ear-splitting noise in the clearing. She watched as her little sister threw back her head, laughing in pure glee.
Nelda, look. Nice.
Vanelda took a step back, unable to take her eyes off Vellum's blood-smeared
Ugh.
smile.
Gross.
Her fangs were out, but her eyes, they weren't full red. They were still sugar pink. She had done all that without bloodlust setting in.
Nice. Big sis, look.
Vanelda looked down at the tangled remains of blood, bone, and sinew between Vellum's hooves.
Jesus, she mangled it.
Boron had made her do worse, but this,
Was
Vellum
savage.
snorted with laughter.
Then again, Meg is savage.
Big sis, look. Nice.
Vanelda turned
Taking murder
and emptied
as
the meager
a thing of
contents her
beauty.
stomach
Lovely.
onto
Ugh.
the grass.
There's the rabbit's leg. Its guts. Man, they get shorter and shorter. Man, that was only about 22 minutes worth, I believe. To be continued. Yep. Back by Pony. Like a mixture between Pinky and Trixie. Has that kind of like snarky attitude, but it also has that sweet tone. So that means Vellum is like this twisted one. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. Sinister. Natural born killer. It's basically the best way to put it. Definitely looking forward to the next chapter. So I'm kind of curious now it's all going to come together. Alright, that was Vampiolence, Chapter 3. 3, right? Uh-oh. Crap. Chapter 4? I don't know. Oh, crap. Yeah, that was Vampiolence, Chapter 3 or 4. We'll just go with that. That was... yeah. That was interesting. It was messed up at the same time, but it was also very interesting because we got to learn more about, you know, Vellum herself, who turns out to be, like, she's able to hold that look that she is, you know, a regular pony, but on the inside, she's just a killer. Like, she honestly reminds me of the daughter of the guy who's trying to kill the queen of the not the Draconic Quest, but the oh god damn it, Diclonius in Elfin Lied, because she looks like just a sweet little innocent girl. She sits in a wheelchair. She doesn't look like she can do anything, but the Diclonius are not nice creatures. She's very murderous in nature, and even though her ending is pretty sad, she's actually really very similar to Vellum. As for Vinyl, what the heck did she do that took away his ability to, hypnotize or, control somebody with the stare? To be able to, control you, hypnotize you. What did she do? And how did she do it? To actually not to take that away from him. That's actually really interesting. And I'm guessing we're probably going to find out more about that in the next part. I don't know how long this is. I mean, how long is this? How is this all going to come together? My guessing is Vinyl is going to have to sacrifice herself for something. Like, I feel like Voron will be defeated, but in it there also comes a grim choice or something like that. Like, I have a feeling he's going to use Octavia as something against Vinyl. Like, would you kill someone that you care for to free them from being a monster or something like that? Something along those levels, because that's grimdark as hell. And I just feel it's going to come down to something like that. Like, I feel Vellum's going to be defeated by Vinyl. I don't know how, but she's going to be. And let's see. Voron is eventually going to be defeated because he's not all-powerful. Because he needs Vellum in order to fight Vinyl. So apparently Vinyl is a very powerful one. Even though she, gave up that life, she still has some remnants of it. And she's powerful because she was able to break both his legs or something, because Vellum was the only thing that stopped her from escaping with Octavia. But he used Octavia to basically gain his strength back. I have a feeling in doing so, he may have changed her as well. But then again, that's not Voron's kind of way to do things. He doesn't just, give that gift to somebody, or curse, I should say, to just anybody. Like, I feel like, again, back to the strain, god damn it, that she's more just a defense, like something he's going to use against her to force her to have to do something terrible, or possibly killing herself, or killing Octavia and taking away her happiness. I've read enough Grimdark to know that this is a thing, and I have a feeling that's how it's going to go. As for the rest of it, I'm clueless. I don't think it's got much longer, considering October is getting close to almost being over. But regardless, I'm enjoying this story. It's messed up as hell, but yeah, very interesting. I'm usually not a fan of vampire stuff either. I'm actually not that heavy into that stuff. So just to say that I actually like this is, yeah, pretty cool. So yep, I guess that's all for now. And like, comment, subscribe if you want more. I will get back to this as soon as it comes out, probably this Friday. And until next time, guys, I'm out for now, and happy horrors. Until next time, take care.